Welcome to the TOCA Backstage podcast. Join TOCA's Executive Director, Chris Wolf, in conversations with the artists and people behind the scenes of the Torrance Cultural Arts Foundation's performances and events.
Hi, this is Chris Wolf, the Executive Director of the Torrance Cultural Arts Foundation. It is my extreme honor and pleasure to be speaking today with Charles Phoenix. Charles will be at the Armstrong Theater on Saturday, November 1st at 8 o'clock with his show, An Evening with Charles Phoenix. Thank you so much, Charles, for joining us.
My pleasure, Chris. Thank you for inviting me. It's always great to come back to the Torrance Civic Theater. Don't you also call it, isn't it really called the James Armstrong Theater?
It is the James Armstrong Theater.
The James Armstrong Theater. Yes, I'm very excited to be back, for sure.
My first question that I have to ask is, in our season brochure, we have a photo of you proudly holding a soft serve cone in front of a Frosties. Is that the Frosties in Torrance?
Yes, on your website, you have a picture of me holding up a soft serve ice cream cone as though it's the Statue of Liberty holding up the torch. Right. And that photo was definitely taken at the Foster's Freeze in Torrance, which is one of the ultimate classic destinations in all the realm of the world of all things soft serve. Yes.
And soft serve is one of our favorites.
Of course.
So you have a long history of all things Americana. I'm just dying to know, what do you think sort of brought you into this world of Americana?
You know, I mean, basically what I'm celebrating is kind of this kind of mid-century arc of style and design. I mean, that's kind of what drew me. I started with the cars because I grew up on a used car lot. And then by the time I started to be like, I don't know, when I was 14, I started thrift shopping and I started to discover vintage fashion, and everything was like from the 50s and the 60s. And I just was so enamored with everything. And then I started looking at architecture. And then when I was 30, I made the ultimate discovery in a thrift store, for me at least, which is a box of someone else's old Kodachrome slides marked Trip Across the United States, 1957. And that box of other people's old slides changed the course of my life. And I started doing these retro slideshows. And basically what I do is it's a celebration of American pop culture. And I just kind of keep it in the arc of that mid-century era. Everything's so colorful and whimsical and optimistic. And frankly, I'm colorful and whimsical and optimistic. That's just me. So it just kind of fits together. And, when I get up there on stage and when I'm talking to an audience, I mean, we are celebrating this together. I mean, it belongs to all of us. And so it's kind of just a fun fest of a show talking about all kinds of different things, architecture, cars, fashion, just experiences that I've had going in search of all of this stuff. So it's kind of a mix of contemporary me going in search of these mom and pop shops and the stories that happened there, or classic cars, or what happened, and then all kind of intertwined with a lot of vintage Kodachrome slides from the actual mid-century era. So we cover a lot of subjects, a lot. I mean, there's like theme parks and road trips, and I mean, it is really a fun fest. Well, as I said, it's a celebration.
And I mean, I have to say, I'm a huge fan. I love watching your shows because you get to discover things that you may have driven past and go, oh, that's interesting. But then you actually do like research and find these places and visit them. Is there like a favorite of yours that you've been to?
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head by reminding me to mention really what the show is. It's storytelling. It's a lot of stories. It's my story. It's our story. It's me going in search of this kind of mid-century Americana. What's left? What is there to celebrate? Did you say what's my favorite place? I mean, they're really just the latest time capsule, time warp treasure that I've discovered. Just traveling around, or an image, a new image that I find in a slide collection that I get. Since I found that box of other people's old slides in 1992, I've never stopped collecting. So I have a massive archive of other people's old Kodachrome slides that's all archived and put together. I have an archivist that's been with me for 22 years now, so everything's in order. So whatever subject it is, I can kind of pull it up. So I've done whole shows of, all kinds of different subjects. But the show we're doing on November 1st in Torrance at the Civic Theater is kind of a, well, if you will, I mean, I might as well just say it because it's kind of what I've never done before, but what I've been wanting to do. So I'm extra excited about the show. It's kind of a greatest hits, if you will, of all that I've discovered, all the best, most outrageously, well, I don't want to say outrageous stories, but fun stories of my discoveries, whether it's a vintage image and the story to go along with the place, or something that has happened to me going in search of all this stuff in my travels. So it's quite an adventure, and it moves along rapidly. And we laugh. We don't laugh at, we laugh with, because we're so filled with joy doing this. If you want to escape the world, right? Or on November 1st, you can for a couple of hours. We're going to take it into the stratosphere of wonder and joy and fun. That's what we do. That's what I do. And, it's from the heart. People are like, how do you stay so optimistic about all this stuff? And I love it so much. And I just think, our American pop culture is worth celebrating and worth, pushing forward. I feel I was born to do what I'm doing. And so that's why I'm so grateful to you, Chris, for, having me back, over the years several times. I mean, it's just, it's an honor to get up there in front of everybody and for us to have this shared experience of celebrating our own culture that belongs to us, that belongs to our parents, our grandparents. And even if you're not that interested in like retro or vintage or whatever, it's still fun, it's educational, and well, people laugh, so it's funny. I mean, we
No,
have a fun time.
absolutely. I will say it is just a joy to not only to have to listen to you talk about and share your joy of what you're bringing to the stage, but also just some of the imagery and um I mean, nowadays it's like everything is cookie cutter AI, like my background. But to see like the old stuff that is like hand built and just, I mean, creative, it's like even the architecture, like you said, or the cars. The cars are amazing. And you're a collector of cars. Do you have a favorite?
Oh, I have several favorites. My favorite cars to collect that I've been collecting forever are the late 50s and early 60s cars with the big fins. But you said it, everything, I mean, we went through the mid-century era, style and design wise was very optimistic, very colorful. I love color. I love, whimsical, optimistic design. And this whole show kind of lives in that strata. So it's just, it's fun. I love it. It's my passion. And I wouldn't be able to get up there. I'm actually kind of a shy person, really. I wouldn't be able to get up there and talk about all this stuff, celebrate all of these things, all these places, and all my discoveries. But I feel it's really important. I feel it's my duty because I feel that, we need to, kind of not forget this. And, I mean, there's traces of it all over. I mean, in our homes and, around town or when we go on vacation and stuff. But, I kind of push it into this like ball of fire of a show. And, it's kind of the condensed version, so it is a theatrical presentation. So it's extra fortified and well, I've said it like this is the 16th time, I think, fun. I mean, for me, it's fun. And clearly, after all these years of doing these shows, I see the audience having fun. I hear the audience having fun. And so it's a joy. It's a passion. It's a fashion.
And and one question I've always been curious about, you have amassed, I would venture to say, hundreds of thousands of slides.
Well, we've never really counted, but I always say it's quality, not quantity. So
Okay.
I have tons of other people's old slides, all categorized perfectly and organized, thanks to my what I call librarian. Teresa Kennedy, she's been with me, as I said, 22 years. So
Is and I know that you've shared a couple like there's I remember one from a couple in their hotel room and she was in bra and panties and he but has
of
there
all
ever
the slides, you remember that one? Yeah. I
I
haven't
remember
shown that one for quite a while. I mean, I haven't shown that little series. Yes. That was in a hotel, a motel called the wait, what was it called? The under like Underbridge or something motel, which is kind of a funny name in Ohio. And yeah, that was a little, yes, I remember, but
but
I don't, well, I'll put that one in the show. I'll put that little series in the show if since you recalled it. It's
no,
pretty funny.
I was only asking because I'm curious. Have you ever come across a slide that could not go into your show?
Well, I mean, there's a couple, topless. I mean, that's about as racy as it gets. So, I mean, I don't really put that in the show. I mean, I don't. So, yeah, I mean, that's about it. But in those days, you had to send your film away to be developed. And I guess they kind of had a censor. Well, I'm not really sure, but they might have had some sort of a censor in the development process that said, oh, we can't develop these and, not send them back or something. I really don't know exactly. But no, my show is not about the edgy stuff
Right.
or something that's a little controversial. This is all on the happy side of the street, the fun side of the street, the colorful side of the street, the joyful side of the street. So there's nothing like I can't show this is borderline. I mean, I don't think.
No, there are it is a family show. I mean,
It is. It's
you've always
G-rated.
yes.
Yeah, it's what do they call that? Something comedy? I forgot what they call it, but in stand-up comedy, they have a name for it when it's like family friendly or whatever. Yeah, my show is family friendly. And people do bring their kids, they bring their parents, and it kind of goes multi-generational just because, as I said, this show does not linger on one subject too long. So if you have the attention span of a gnat like I do, that's one of the reasons we move along and cover a lot of subjects because I like to just keep that choo-choo train of, imagery and subjectry. Is subjectry a word? Moving along as much as possible.
And some people may not know, but you're also a whiz in the kitchen. Um,
Well,
you're
I
a test.
I I like cooking and stuff like that. I do without recipes.
Yeah, well, you are credit. I mean, I for those that don't know, you are the creator of the Chirpumple.
Sure, pumple. Yeah, cherry pumpkin and apple pies, each one baked in a separate layer of cake. Apple and spice, cherry and white, pumpkin and yellow, and then you stack and frost with cream cheese frosting. It's basically the turducken of desserts. And let me tell you something, seriously, not joking around, it is really, really delicious. But I mean, not to get into it or whatever, but if you make a chirpumple for Thanksgiving, because it's the ultimate Thanksgiving dessert, you might have it might fail, fall, or hemorrhage, but if it does, that's perfectly fine because it's not about perfection. It's about the heart and soul and the effort and the presentation of it all. So the other thing is you bake the pies first and then you put them, but kind of put a little batter in the cake. Well, you have to detin them. Put a little batter in the cake pan and then put the baked pie in and then a little more batter on top and you bake those. So yeah, and the pies have no idea they've been baked twice. They just don't know.
Where did the inspiration for that come from?
The inspiration for the Chirpumple pie stuffed cake came from the fact that one year, this was like literally 15 years ago already. I mean, this is a thing, it just keeps going. My family, after I mean, when Thanksgiving dinner and dessert was totally served and done one year, I'm like, I went to the trash can to put my paper plate away, and I realized there were paper plates were stacked practically higher than me. And I'm like, okay, family. I had an epiphany at that moment. I'm like, okay, family. I said, we need to have a meeting. We are not a green family. We need to be less wasteful. So what I did is I said, I'm going to take every one of these desserts that we have. We always had an apple pie, a pumpkin pie, and a cherry pie for dessert on the table. And then my mother made what my grandmother used to make always, which was a two-layer cake, and one layer was spice and the other layer was yellow. I thought if I just add one more layer to that cake, I can bake those pies in, then we're all just going to have one slice and one paper plate instead of going back over and over and over for a little sliver of this and then 5 minutes later going back for another little sliver of that and wasting a paper plate every time. So I did it to save paper plates. I invented the chirpumple to save the earth. I'm serious.
That's amazing. That's great. I never knew that.
Yeah.
I've seen it, and I have yet to witness one in person, but it's now that I know that there's truly a ecological reason to make it. I'm going to save the earth by making a tripumple.
You can, yes.
And so, what's next on your? I mean, you're doing your tour stuff, you're doing online stuff. What's next for Charles Phoenix?
Well, quite frankly, I'm glad you asked, Chris. I'm gonna ramp it up next year. I bought a house, and so when you buy a house, it's like, you got to ramp it up a little bit. So, during the pandemic, I took my shows online. The first two I actually did at your theater, and that was very successful. So I'm gonna make some shows online. They're not going to be as long. I mean, because the pandemic era shows were like literally 2 hours plus, which people said was great during the pandemic because they couldn't go anywhere, so they were fine. But I'm going to do like, shorter versions of, new material covering all the stuff that I love, all the vintage retro, Americana, mid-century, all that stuff, old school, classic, love it. So just in smaller bites. So hopefully I'm going to do that as a subscription series online. I want to do more shows and more tours and more test kitchen and, social media, which is, social media is a big time consumer. So anyway, but I just want to do more. I feel like, it's like you get to be a certain point in your life and you realize, okay, I've done all that I've done, but there's still more to do. And, just keep moving along and keep trying to expand and reach more people and really just celebrate Americana more and more with more and more people. So that's my goal for 2026. I know, can you believe 2026? We're like living in the future. I know.
It is amazing. Um, Having gone through all your slides, I remember the first show I ever saw of yours was a trip across America.
Yes.
I still remember the image that made me curious to see it, which was some blonde standing next to a highway sign.
Yes, Route 66.
Yeah.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Um, are you are you planning to bring the old shows back, or is it
Well,
all
I
new?
I can't believe you asked that, Chris. Sorry, I got excited. I interrupted you. Yes, I am. I'm going to the first show that I ever did in 1998. Um, I thought, well, I got to do something. I got to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So I did literally a trip across the United States. It was around the United States, is what it was. We started backing out of our driveway in California, and the first stop was Las Vegas, and then we went all the way around the last. Well, I won't tell you what the last stop was, but anyway, a good grand finale. And I am going to resurrect that show, that kind of round circle trip around the United States. That's going to debut in Feb. I don't say Ruary anymore. I just say Feb. At Modernism Week in Feb. Modernism Week in Feb. I'm going to debut that show as well as another show, which is a show I've never done, a grand tour of Europe in the 50s and 60s, which is really incredible just to see, Europe in the 50s and 60s. But we're not talking about future shows right now. We're talking about the show that's coming up this November 1st, which is a Saturday night, 8 o'clock in Torrance at the James Armstrong Torrance Civic Theater. One time, Chris, when I was at your theater, I'll never forget, probably about, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever, the firemen's and ladies next door at the fire station were having a spaghetti dinner that night as well. So
Yeah.
they brought me like this spaghetti dinner with meatballs and salad and bread. And I don't know why, that just really, really, really stuck with me. It was so good. I just love stuff like that, community celebration and stuff. And celebration is a big word for me because that is That's what I'm here to do. That's what I am doing. So Saturday night, November 1st, 8 o'clock, you can get your tickets on my website, which is charlesphoenix.com, or what is it for you guys, Chris? What's your
Tor
website?
torrancearts.org.
torrancearts.org.
Mhm.
Yeah, and just like search Charles Phoenix or it'll come up or whatever, I'm not sure, but that's the way we do it. And we really hope to see you there and bring your friends and family. And if they're like, what this? What? Slideshow? What? Just say, trust me, you're going to have a good time. I've
That's
heard
how
it
I've
over and
gotten
over,
people
like
there.
slideshow, what? Yeah,
Yeah,
well, we're taking the classic living room slideshow and we are launching it into the stratosphere. Trust me, that is what it is. And we're going there too. And we're going to have a fantastic time.
perfect. Well, I think that's a great wrap up. Thank you so much, Charles, and we look forward to seeing you November 1st at the James Armstrong Theater.
I'll be there. Hopefully, you will be too. Thank you,
Excellent.
Chris.
Thank you, Charles.
Okay, bye bye.